Hello everyone. I'm here to give you a little short webinar on using choice boards. As we met together, this was one of the options that came up, and I know some of you are already using choice boards, so that's fantastic. When I learned about choice boards, I saw it as a really viable option for creating a classroom environment when it's not in your classroom, in your physical space. So this webinar is going to be sharing with you some thinking around what choice boards are, why you would want to use them, and then I actually created a choice board. One of the things that my team really believe in is not asking people to do things that we haven't ourselves actually done. And so it's been a challenge for us in going through this new learning environment because it's not only a new learning environment for you, but it's also a new learning environment for us. For this webinar, I'm using Screencastify. And like I shared with you during our meeting time, Screencastify right now is offering free sign up usage, which gives us more than 30 minutes of screen time or more than 5 minutes. I don't know what the free version is because I've always used Screencastify as the paid version. I use it lots of times for my grandchildren when I'm sending them read alouds, which I do a lot. So for this webinar, I'm choosing Screencastify, and you get this drop-down menu, and I'm recording my browser tab for this webinar. For the videos that I've used in this webinar, I've done them using my cell phone, and then I have airdropped them to my computer because some of them are quite large. And so this is a screenshot of my computer receiving the video from my iPhone. So I'm just going to start by talking about what are choice boards. So a choice board is really a graphic organizer that allows students to choose different ways to learn about a particular concept. It's often been referred to as a learning menu. And so here's someone's concept of a learning menu. You might have appetizers, so it's a list of assignments or projects that students could select one item. There's a main dish, which means this is something that everyone must complete. Side dishes, maybe they could select 2 items from this menu. Or desserts, which are like those really irresistible assignments or projects, high interest, challenging, and they could choose one of those. So this is one person's concept of what a choice menu would look like. But each choice menu or each choice board should revolve around a single concept or learning expectation. This choice board example that you see on the side is relating to multiple intelligences, so that all children can find something that fits how they learn best. Again, that's one person's concept of what it might look like. If you want students to complete multiple activities on the choice board, you could consider it like a tic-tac-toe board. So they should complete 3 activities in a row. But then be sure to put the most fun activity or the one that you expect them to do in the center. Most of these activities should be able to be completed individually. The exception in this multiple intelligence would be the interpersonal square. What I'd suggest is that we have some things that children can do independently and some that they can do as with a parent support. So why should you use them? First of all, we can facilitate differentiated learning opportunities, looking at your families, looking at what their needs are, and being a family-focused choice board, so we realize that not all families will be able to complete everything that we ask. So this gives them an option. Can you try 1 of these? Can you try 2 of these? Maybe you could do 3, or maybe you'd like to do the full set, depending on how the family is able to support this. You can use this in any subject. It provides different contexts for students to engage in a variety, using a variety of their senses, and these approaches are supported by research. It offers all learners of all ages choices in how they learn about a new topic or to understand a familiar one. You can also use them to provide tiered levels of learning opportunities, and it can serve as a contract between the student and the teacher. It can be adapted for special education or IEP children who have certain IEP plans to support them. So why should you use them? It increases student ownership. You can focus students on essential knowledge, skills, and strategies to align to curricular goals, or in our case, essential outcomes. You can make it easy to manage, so a single lesson, a week-long lesson, or even a month-long period of study. So giving students choices, let's suggest for this purpose, I was thinking a week-long menu. How you make your choice board and what you want it to look like is totally up to you. I used a tic-tac-toe model for mine. Here's some links if you're interested in the research behind it. Multiple intelligences. What does the research say about how children need to learn in different ways with different modes? And then there's a link to a really where I got all of my pictures from in this previous menu. So how do you use them? First of all, you want to identify the topic or area of study which you want students to focus on. I chose my essential outcomes that I wanted children to be able to develop at home. Then, using your student profile and assessment data, determine their readiness and their learning style, etc. That's really a point about knowing your families, knowing your kids. And then for this tic-tac-toe board, I created 9 different tasks or activities for which students could choose. My center square is the non-negotiable where I want them to start. So you arrange the tasks on the choice board appropriately. Do not put 2 of the same in a row together, the same type, and I'll show you how I took that into consideration with my choice board. The middle square could be left open to student choice, used as a fun activity or as a required task. I used it as a required task, and students can choose 3 adjacent or diagonal tasks to complete. Or if you have teachers or families who are deeply engaged, they could select all of the tasks. So I started by thinking about my essential learning outcomes for kindergarten and pre-K. I had some social emotional outcomes where taking care of myself and my belongings or developing self-awareness and a sense of others with respect to the read aloud that I chose. Then looking at intellectual math, I'm looking at sorting and classifying, looking at attributes. Intellectual, I wanted to have them respond to the reading that I do and then being able to express their ideas in writing, also painting, dancing, puppetry, etc. And I wanted to develop some physical fine motor control, fine motor skills. So I'm just going to show you now what my choice board looks like. So I have 2 different types of squares, things I can do by myself and things that I need someone else to help me with. The turquoise squares are things that I can do by myself, and the yellow squares are things that I can do with someone else. My start here is my read aloud. So when I click this, I go right to my read aloud. And again, I recorded these with Screencastify. I uploaded them to YouTube and then brought them back into this PowerPoint through the YouTube link. And I'll just give you a little bit of what this looks like. When I look at the front cover, I'm wondering a few things. First of all, I'm wondering if this farm has lots of animals because I see a pig on the front cover. I chose Mrs. Wishy-Washy's farm because it gave me some ideas of some things that we could do in those developmental domains that I shared with you. So notice that on my board, I didn't put all things that needed parent help. I tried to select things that a variety of, if you went across one row, you'd have some things that need some support and some things that you can do on your own. Again, it's a menu that parents can select from. So I'm just going to go through these. On my right, like an author page, if you go that, here's a bookmaking opportunity where I want children to be able to make a book. And then here's a little video. And I added some jazzy music. So with this video, it shows them how they can make a book, gives them some instructions on a really easy way that they can make a book together and make a book that they can use at home. And then my thinking about what I'm going to put in my book, which is the something is in the tub. If I look at number 2, exploring like a scientist, on this video, or on this scene, I'm asking them to look for things that are washed or not washed, because the book Mrs. Wishy-Washy talks about her washing the animals and how they feel about it and what they do about it. So here are some things, some examples of things that I have at my house. My dishes that are not washed and my dishes that have been washed. My laundry that is not washed and some things that have been washed and folded and put away. Some fruit that is not washed and some fruit that has been washed and is ready to eat. And then there's a process, of course, of washing them in between. playing like a musician, I have a link here to some easy shaker tubes that families can make at home using toilet paper rolls. So you can make your toilet paper roll, staple it or tape it at the bottom, add your rice, and then staple or tape it at the top. And if you tape it a different direction, it makes it kind of jazzy. Very easy, quick thing that they can do. Dancing like a dancer, once they've made their instrument, here's a really fun little music video that they can shake and dance along. I like this one because, first of all, it's at a farm. It's jazzy. And she encourages children to dance along with her with their shakers. So you get the point. Then I went to create like a sculpture. And in Create Like a Sculptor, this is a really easy recipe to make moon sand at home. They have to find 4 cups of sand, maybe they have around their neighborhood or in their sandbox. Add 2 cups of cornstarch, a cup of water, mix it together, and then it keeps its shape. It isn't dusty, so then you can have an indoor sandbox like we would have in our classroom. When I look at painting like an artist, this is one that is again related to the Mrs. Wishy-Washy's farm, where you actually make mud paint. So you take some mud, put it in a container. Spring's a really good time to collect mud. Add some dish soap, which makes it paint better, and then add water to make it look like soup. And then you can draw using any vehicle, making tracks across your paper. Tell it like a teacher is where we listen to the story, and then you have a conversation with another adult. So, who was the story about? Where did the animals live? What did they have trouble with? How did it start? Then what happened? How did they solve the trouble? This is really a support for parents, which is why it's a yellow square in how do you have a conversation with your child about the story. Then Sterilize Like a Doctor is an opportunity for children to clean their own toys. So if you add equal parts of vinegar and water to a spray bottle, then they could spray their toys with the vinegar solution, let it sit, and then wipe them away with a paper towel or a rag. So this is an opportunity for them to do that. So there is my choice board and the way that I set it up. I set it up in PowerPoint. I would send this out to my families and let them choose what their activities were. Then I think about what would I do daily as my check-in. So if this is my week's worth of activities, now I'm going to do my daily check-in. So in this daily check-in, I'm showing them how I made my book. You might want your parent to help you with this part, but because I'm an adult, I did it, and watch how quickly and easy I can do this. So I first made my W's and made all the folds, and then I have a little fold that I cut, and it gave me a line to cut on. I cut that piece, and woohoo! I got my paper just the way I wanted. I fold it back together, and ta-da! I have my book. It's ready to go. So then once I've done my check-ins, I might, just make sure I'm there, yep. I might want to have children converse back to me. What did they do? So this is where you can use your Seesaw, take a picture, make a video, talk along, or just tell you about what they did, whichever platform you're using to communicate with your families. So that's how I did a choice board. It wasn't really difficult to do. The planning and thinking was always the big piece. And then just putting things together in my PowerPoint presentation was easy to do. And again, for my videos, I either used Screencastify to record my read aloud, or I did things on my phone and then uploaded it to my computer. Really quick, easy ways to share your thinking and share your learning plan. I hope this helps you out as you are looking toward your planning. And again, this is not a prescription that you should do this. This is just one idea of something that you might want to try when you're creating your learning environment remotely. Take care.